don't know if that's actually the song from Slumber Party Massacre Part 2, but I'm going to say it is. Kind of like that, I think, you know? I haven't really put too much thought into this. Hey, ladies and gents, back again, Resurrection Reviews. I really do need to start calling this Red Eye Reviews just based on the sheer amount of caffeine and coffee that I consume. It's not that I actually drink that much coffee or caffeine. It's just that I always drink it when I'm making videos, and I do that maybe once or twice a day. Well, not every day, but once or twice every once in a while. So, this is Venetian Reserve again. Piping hot and black right out of the Keurig. So, ladies and gents, we are doing Slumber Party Massacre. Actually, not just Part 2, but Part 3. I decided to go ahead and watch Part 3, guys. And I'll figure out something else to watch, probably not today, but maybe tomorrow and do a review on. I know in front of a window is not the best place to do these reviews because the lighting's not great, but I don't look great. So the lighting kind of helps the fact that I don't look great. I've got a bad hat on, don't have good hair, don't have a really great beard right now. I need to comb it and make myself look pretty. You guys should see my teeth up close. I probably need to brush them. But I've got the day off until 4 today. So I went ahead and watched Slumber Party Massacre Parts 2 and 3. So we're going to be doing a quick review of those. Ceremonial sip from the coffee. So here's the thing with Slumber Party Massacre Part 2, is that it's kind of a Nightmare on Elm Street ripoff. It came out in 1987. This was the height of Freddy popularity. Freddy had just come out with probably the best sequel in his whole series, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3. A lot of movies were taking cues from Nightmare on Elm Street, making them this more kind of dream-like killer with a signature weapon, and you know, they attack you in your dreams, or having some supernatural aspects about it, and also being kind of a wisecracker. That's what Freddy had become by 1987, the third sequel, or the second sequel, the third movie in the series. And Slumber Party Massacre Part 2 basically just takes a Freddy-type guy, throws him into the Slumber Party Massacre thing, makes him a hard rocker, kind of a heavy metal kind of guy, mixed with like a 50s greaser, kind of punkish. You know, if you look at the punks from like Return of the Living Dead or something like that, this is kind of what this guy looks like. He's running around making rock and roll puns and quipping as he murders people, doing a big dance number and like big song and dance number as he's about to murder somebody. Really, really wild stuff. A lot of the kills here and the special effects are actually pretty darn good, I gotta say, for that. The characters are fairly likable and nice. I kind of enjoy virtually all the characters. Maybe there's one or two I don't like. I don't like the guy that plays TJ. He's a really annoying character and possibly even actor. I don't know. He's probably a fine guy in real life, but he's just so annoying. The sheer amount of sex puns in here is a little bit much for me, but some of them are kind of funny. It really gets ramped up in Part 3 as far as the sex jokes and stuff like that. But I don't know, there's actually fairly okay acting in this movie. Only a few actors I think are just downright awful. But most of them do at least a serviceable job as people that are getting hacked and slashed up near the last 20 minutes of the movie. And the last 20 minutes really are all-out brutality, a lot of violence. A lot of the build-up is just kind of like these dream sequences that the main character, Courtney, is going through. She's, of course, the sister of the main character in the original Slumber Party Massacre. Won't be doing that one right now, by the way. But, yeah, Slumber Party Massacre Part 2. It's a fun movie. It's got the least nudity and sexuality out of the whole trilogy, which kind of makes it my favorite. That's part of the reason I like it. It's a Slumber Party Massacre movie, still got that kind of cheap vibe to it that's kind of fun and really silly and kind of hilarious. You take that but just minus the sleaziness of the original Slumber Party Massacre, and also the third sequel. Kind of makes it my favorite. Also, the rock and roll aspect of it. I'm a big rock guy. Love that. Just really fun stuff. But in fact, that was the song I was trying to play, was The Buzz. That scene where he does the big song and dance number. He's got this giant drill guitar. This guitar with a drill on the head of it, which I don't know how that works, but he's shredding all the time. Really fun stuff. Crazy movie. I recommend it if you can skip over the one nude scene. It's not really even that graphic, but in kind of an inconsequential scene. The girls are partying out. They're supposed to be watching Rock and Roll High School, which is also a Roger Corman movie, much like Slumber Party Massacre, the whole trilogy. But Rock and Roll High School doesn't have the song that they're dancing to, so that kind of irks me as a fan of Rock and Roll High School and as a fan of the Ramones that star in Rock and Roll High School. But overall, pretty fun little movie. Gotta say, I enjoy it. As far as like the Slumber Party Massacre movies go, this is probably my favorite. Number 3, also a contender for favorite, just because of the sheer cheesiness of the entire affair. I mean, all Slumber Party Massacre movies are the same. Girls have a party, a slumber party, and generally get scantily clad, and they're running around in their 90s away from a guy with a gigantic drill. I mean, look at the cover. So, I mean, you're gonna get that. Thing here is, there's much worse acting than in the first movie or the second movie. Exponentially worse. Much worse writing. A lot of the characters are somewhat lovable in some ways, but pretty stupid in others. I do think that this one maybe has my favorite characters out of the whole pack, to be perfectly honest. It does have the most nudity out of the Slumber Party Massacre movies. Definitely sheer amount of nudity is up in this one, so that's a big negative, of course, for me as someone who doesn't want that in my horror movies. But if you take that away, you've got a movie that's incredibly cheesy, really wild, over-the-top kills, some weird character stuff with the killer. The killer is really, really weird in this. A gigantic drill. There's so much in this movie. And again, directed by a woman, just like in the first other 2 Slumber Party Massacre movies. I liked the movie. I don't like the nudity. That's a big negative for me. And there's probably about 10 minutes worth of nudity in this movie if I were to kind of just compile all the scenes together. So there's quite a lot. Fairly graphic sex scene in the middle of the movie. Something you need to probably fast forward through or something like that. But, you know, if you can get past the nudity, both of these movies are actually really fun. Neither of them great movies in their own right. I think Slumber Party Massacre 2 is a little bit underrated as a slasher. I think it's pretty fun. A lot of fun little character moments. You got 2 girls from Friday the 13th in them. You got a girl from Friday the 13th Part 5 and a girl from Friday the 13th Part 7. The girl from Part 5 is the one that gets topless in it. She does the same in Friday the 13th Part 5. Just skip through that scene, for me at least. And I discourage you from watching the nude scenes in either of these movies. But the violence scenes are pretty primo. Pretty good special effects all throughout these 2 movies. Really crazy dream sequences in the first movie. Not first movie, but Slumber Party Massacre Part 2. A lot of crazy flashbacks and psychological stuff in the third movie. There's a couple aspects about Part 3 that I have to mention. And some in Part 2. I'll go with Part 2 first. In Part 2, 3 things happen that solidify it as a great cheesy movie. Number 1, a girl starts eating a hamburger that is not in fact a hamburger, it is a hand burger. There's a lot of chopped up hands on the sandwich. Second off, in part 2, a chicken attacks a woman. A frozen chicken. Not a live chicken, a dead frozen chicken, skinned and all, feathered off and everything. A chicken attacks a woman, headless. Crazy stuff. And third, a woman has a zit so big that it makes her head explode. If you don't want to watch the movie after that, I don't know who you are. Next, for part 3, they have a brand of beer that is simply called beer. It's not Budweiser, it's not Natty Light, it's not Bud Light, it's not Keystone Light, not Keystone Ice, not some other cheap brand, not even Kirkland brand, which I hear tastes like cardboard. They have beer brand beer. What are you gonna do? Awesome. And then they've got this scene where these girls are trying to escape, and there's a table in front of a window. Not a window, it's like a big French door. You know, big glass doors sliding. And they can't get past this frickin' folding table. They're on top of it, they're on the bottom of it. They somehow can't get past the door. They can't get past this table to get to the door and open it and leave. There's even a point where a girl jumps through a window to escape, killing herself. And this is on the first floor, by the way. She's on the first floor. Somehow she dies by jumping through this glass window. I mean, I guess, sure, all the glass. But they don't even go for that window. They go through another sliding glass door, trying to get there, and an inanimate object stops them. A very flimsy inanimate object. This table looks like I could pick it up with one hand and throw it across the room. And I ain't too big, guys. I'm not a big, strong fella. I'm like 5'7". These women, 3 women, can't get past a door. Can't get past a table to get to a door. Ridiculous. And a third thing, this is the big, weird psychological thing. The killer goes from giggling and raving madness and stuff like that to crying and sobbing and acting like a little just, whiner. And he whines, and you kind of feel sorry for him because it's obvious the guy got molested by his uncle as a kid. Got molested by his uncle. And he keeps crying about it throughout the whole experience of trying to kill women. He's stumbling around laughing and crying, blind because these girls have thrown bleach in his eyes. This is a weird movie. Both these movies are really weird movies. And yet, I can't help but recommend them. Despite the fact that they have nudity. If you can skip through the nudity, there's really, really fun movies in here. The nudity, of course, takes both of them down a peg. The second one to a lesser degree because it's only got one, maybe 2-minute scene. But both movies, such fun. Movies that I like to revisit every once in a while. Maybe not once a year, but, every once in a while if I can skip past the nudity. Really, really fun stuff. Really cheesy movies. So that's Slumber Party Massacre, parts 2 and 3. I might review the first one later, but not anytime soon as far as I'm concerned. I'll be looking for what the next movie is I'm going to review fairly soon. So this is another double review. Thank you guys for watching. Rock on. If you like to subscribe, take another sip of this Venetian Reserve. Strong stuff. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching.